Hey, everyone. Good to be here.
Hello. This is my second time on StreamYard today.
Busy beaver you are.
I know. So Shelly's here and Anne is here.
Our Canadian contingency.
I know. If it wasn't for them coming, we'd be all alone. They come. They are such great supporters. We love you guys.
All right. So this is industry marketing trends for 2025. And
so we're going to do a little Q&A back and forth. And this is a series that's going to continue for the next couple industry updates because there are so many things that we don't want to just rush through it. We want to make sure that we let you know how to navigate the publishing industry in both marketing as well as in the publishing. So Athena, how has book marketing evolved really as we head into 2025?
Well, it has definitely transformed significantly, which is going to require that we be willing to pivot and that authors be willing to pivot and try new things. With the growth of digital technologies, social media platforms, and a changing reader demographic, both authors and publishers really are beginning to rethink their strategies, which we are always all about rethinking our strategies, because if something's not working, we want to find something that does and really be agile and, quick to make changes. So it's less now about traditional marketing methods and more about embracing new tools and platforms to connect with readers where they already are.
So don't be scared to try something new is basically the idea.
Yes.
So what's the first topic?
Our first one we're going to talk about is author collaboration and co-marketing in the new year. So Carol, why is collaboration becoming so important for authors?
Yeah, so the idea of authors being in competition is really something of the past. Collaboration allows writers to team up to amplify their visibility without really doubling the workload. And we talk a lot about that in RPU. Collaboration is huge. And it's funny, we've been talking about it since Athena started. She writes collaborations years ago, and now the industry is finally catching up, I suppose. So again, Athena, you are an innovator. But by working together, authors can really combine their fan bases, their followers, their platforms to reach new readers in a market and really stand out. So it's a win-win, especially for those of us who are publishing in a hybrid or indie way, because we don't really, and even other authors as well, because we just don't have a lot of money to navigate a lot of marketing opportunities. And so by collaborating, that helps your budget.
And definitely one of the things that I have seen, and I saw this very clearly about 12 or 13 years ago, where we took 4 authors who all wrote in the same genre, but they were all very different. And it wasn't like 2 of them were so similar that it's like reading the same person. They were all very unique. They had the same market. And we did a big homeschool event convention where it was pretty much, if you like me, you'll like these other 3. And they were all saying the same thing. So it was so cool to see that collaboration where, you're not trying to hoard everybody for yourself, but you're playing off each other and really making the most of the opportunity at hand. And I just loved watching that example of teamwork. We're all on Team Jesus.
Right. So that's one example of a successful collaborations. What are some more general ways that people could collaborate together?
Well, one popular example is joint giveaways. So maybe like two authors who have a cozy mystery genre that they're writing in, and they're teaming up to give away signed books or audiobooks or even themed merchandise. It's a great way to engage with each other's readers. Again, there you got that cross pollination going on. Another example is bundling books together, such as a collection of romance novels from different authors, creating a value package that appeals to shared audiences. I love that idea.
Yeah. And Anne asked a question, is it best to collaborate with authors who write on a similar topic? And in some ways, yes, because then you have the same audience, but also like as women, there's a lot of different topics that would reach women. And so it just depends on the, what your aim is of the event. Are you wanting to bring in people, for example, and that are all experiencing grief? Then yes, if you really want to minister to that area. But if you're just speaking to women in general, like your leadership book, you might have a leadership book, you might have a book where someone's teaching how to organize, another book where they're teaching how to, lose weight, whatever that is, like things that interest women and that they could use.
Nice. Okay, so Carol, how does co-writing fit into this trend?
Yeah, co-writing is an exciting form of collaboration because it's really gaining momentum, they say, in 2025. Authors are teaming up to write books with each person contributing their unique strengths. For example, in a fiction novel, you might have one doing a standalone story centered on one character while another writes from a different perspective. You may have in a fiction or a nonfiction where someone writes the main teaching content and the other one does like application and questions, and if they're really good at like formulating those things. So you may divide up the chapters. One good collaboration to look at that came out not that long ago is Staying Power. It's Carol Kent and what's the gal? Lambert, Cindy Lambert. So those couples wrote it together, and so you'll see different voices and their personalities come out. So does collaboration, Athena, only work if you're publishing indie, or can you do it if you're traditionally published, or can you even combine if you're indie? Can you combine with a traditional published author?
Well, that would be interesting. The concept works for everyone, although indie authors often lead the way with these kind of grassroots strategies. Traditionally published authors are seeing the value, but they don't own their content. So that kind of can be a little bit of a barrier. For example, anthology collectives like the She Writes for Him feature short stories from several authors in the same genre that can then bring together fans of each contributor and create buzz around their other works. Both indie and traditionally published authors are realizing the power of community. So yeah, I think we skipped a question. So can I ask you?
Yeah, I don't. Which one?
Question 4.
Got it.
So, Carol, how can authors use collaboration to cross-promote effectively?
Yeah, cross-promotion is all about tapping into an audience that's already existing in your genre. For example, if there are two authors that are writing Bible studies, you would then recommend those books in your email newsletter, social media. And we do that, doing things that really do cross-promote other people that do things that we do. Joint promotions like hosting an event together, online, even in person, maybe a Q&A, maybe doing a virtual reading together. It really will drive engagement to your books.
Nice.
So then I'll ask you the last question. Sorry, we got out of order. What is the key takeaway for authors looking to start collaborating?
Well, the key is finding the right partners. I mean, you want to complement each other and look for authors whose work complements yours, whether it's in tone or genre or audience. There's lots of different aspects of complementing. It's not just on the content. So you got to think creatively. Start small, maybe with a shared promotion or giveaway, and build from there. Collaboration is about mutual support. When done well, it not only boosts visibility, but also fosters a sense of camaraderie and makes the marketing process more enjoyable and effective. And it's just, when you have a group of people that are excited about what God's given them to share, there's just that synergy there that, the Holy Spirit's at work, and it just makes it way more fun and way more effective, I think.
Yeah. And Redemption Press is actually working behind the scenes. So you're the first to know of really putting some marketing opportunities together for our authors to collaborate and really promote each other, as well as in this, in the same genre, children's books, novels, and giving you the tools to do that and opportunities. So I'm excited for what God's doing in 2025 at Redemption Press. It's going to be good.
Yes, yes. So now we're going to talk about audiobooks. And Carol, why are audiobooks becoming such a dominant force in the book industry?
Well, honestly, they're skyrocketing because of their convenience. Readers simply love listening to stories while they're multitasking, commutes, during their workout, if they're relaxing at home, if they're doing the dishes. And they say that by 2025, audiobooks have become the go-to format for many, making it essential for authors to expand into this growing market.
Okay, so let's see.
I'm going to ask you what makes audiobooks so appealing to different audiences.
Well, they offer accessibility and flexibility. They attract busy individuals who may not have time to sit down and read, as well as people who simply prefer to consume stories audibly. For instance, there's a favorite among commuters. They are a favorite among commuters, parents juggling tasks, even visually impaired readers. That's a whole nother market. The storytelling quality, often enhanced by professional narration, also adds an engaging layer to the overall experience. All right. So, Carol, how can authors get started with audiobook production?
Yeah, I love the last point you brought is professional. If you do this wrong, it will be a disaster. We've had many authors, some very dear friends of ours, that have gone a cheaper route to do their audiobook, and it's ended up horrible. So make sure that you are partnering with an audiobook company that actually does audiobooks. It's not just about recording, it's about doing it properly. So producing an audiobook really does come with finding the right narrator, or making sure that you have the voice that you feel could really bolster your story. There are platforms like ACX, Findaway Voices, that will help you connect with narrators and handle the distribution. These platforms also make audiobook production so much more accessible. If you're a traditionally published author, usually you work with your publisher, but often we have recognized that many of our friends, when they have tried to do their audiobook with a traditional publisher, the traditional publisher will not allow them to narrate it. And so you have to make sure that you have that. If you want an audiobook, make sure that your agent is pitching that with your contract, so that that is in your contract if that's something that you're passionate about. And at Redemption Press, we do have partners that are credible, that make incredible audiobooks that you can work with. And we would be glad to talk to you about that. So, Athena, is it expensive to produce an audiobook?
Well, it depends on whether or not you hire a narrator, obviously, or sometimes with narrators, a professional narrator might be open to using a revenue sharing model where the narrator takes a portion of future royalties instead of upfront fees. I think you probably have to either be pretty influential or pretty famous for them to go for that, unless you have a huge platform, and that would, ensure that they would make at least what they would have charged you for the work that they did. While there is an initial investment, the potential to reach an entirely new audience and generate revenue over time often outweighs the cost for many authors.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are authors marketing their audiobooks in 2025?
Well, Athena has an audiobook. So maybe this will be some ways that you can market yours. So marketing strategy, and actually you have done some of these ways. So don't be so down on yourself. You've actually done a lot of these ways. Marketing strategies for audiobooks are really evolving, sharing short audio examples on social media, newsletters, and allowing potential readers or listeners, I guess it would be, to test drive the story. And then podcasts are also a tool in either creating a podcast or being on podcasts that promote audiobooks, and collaborating with audiobook influencers and reviewers. And Athena, you did this with, what's it called? That social media with LinkedIn.
With LinkedIn, I did. I took a chapter at a time and shared each chapter. Yeah.
That's a great way. It's exactly what they're saying is the way to do it in 2025. So once again,
who knew?
All right. So how are subscription services? We're going to talk a little bit more about this in the weeks to come, because it really is kind of putting a little bit of a damper on publishing, but then again, it's getting your book in front of people. So how are subscription services impacting the audiobook industry?
Well, subscription services like Audible, Scribd, Spotify, they're dramatically expanding the audiobook audience, but also by following a subscription model, these platforms not only make it easier for readers to discover and enjoy content at a low cost, but for authors, it offers significant exposure, even though the revenue might be calculated differently compared to direct sales. So I would not necessarily go 100% subscription platforms. I would try and have some direct sales with your audiobook and some subscriptions, so you can kind of make a little more return on that than the little bitty that you get from a subscription model. The key is to use these platforms to create visibility and draw listeners to your broader collection of work. So think of it that way. A lot of times an audiobook is a marketing tool for your other product.
Now, here's the thing though. If you are traditionally published and your publisher is putting your audiobook out there, especially for the question we answered before that, like marketing with it, you actually don't get to use that content unless you have permission from your publisher. Right. So there is that detriment of like, you don't get the opportunity to use. So
as marketing, that's exactly right. So if you are independent published or hybrid published and retain the rights, you can do whatever you want and utilize it as a marketing tool, but not necessarily if you're traditionally published.
Right.
Okay, so Carol, what's a creative way that authors are using audiobooks to engage audiences?
So they're producing other content. We talk about this with our writing, so let's do it with audiobooks too. Making prequels, doing a bonus chapter, doing a short story to spark interest to a full-length book, doing a teaching that goes along with your fiction book. Others produce audio first release, where audiobooks are published before the physical and digital formats are. So they actually hear the book, allowing them to really ride out that momentum of the audio popularity before rolling out the other versions. I mean, who knew? Like, that's not something that you'd ever think of.
Yeah, I love that idea. It's kind of like having the hardcover first, like they do for the big celebrities. It's hardcover only. And then down the road, they bring out the soft cover. So the idea of having audio only first is kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. So then our last question for today is, what is the most important thing for authors to keep in mind when creating an audiobook?
Well, as you would expect from us, because we are so committed to excellence, the answer is quality matters. A professionally narrated, well edited audiobook can elevate your story and build trust with your audience. Taking the time to ensure every aspect from pacing to pronunciation is polished will pay off in the long run. Audiobook listeners are often loyal, so a positive first impression can lead to continued support for future projects. And let me just say, when I got to go in the studio and do all three, my two memoirs and then the book that my husband and I wrote together, it was like the most amazing experience to actually have someone, saying, wait, do that one again. You were a little clumsy there, or try this here, and really a partner making sure that every word out of my mouth was gonna really reach the reader's heart through their ears. And it was amazing every time I lost it and started getting weepy, she had me do it over. And it was still a little weepy, but that's okay. It was authentic and authentic and excellent. Put those two together and you got a great audiobook.
Yeah. And Shelly's listening, and she did Anne's audiobook for, was it the leadership book she did? I think so.
I think so.
So she has experience there, and she says that it was an amazing experience. Anne says, yes, I felt that too, Athena, when Shelly narrated my leadership book. The studio RP used for this was awesome. Anne did have one more question, and it was back with the collaboration. So let's just go ahead and answer that. What about collaboration with someone who is not an author, like someone who has merchandise? I think that is a fabulous idea, especially if you are a speaker or if you are doing bundles on a social media platform, because it does get other product on your table to sell, as well as things that they would need. So if you find someone that makes bags, like really cute bags to carry stuff in, you could, put all the books that you do, your collaboration, in a bag. And so now that person is also part of that collaboration and giving an additional bonus to the buyer or the winner or whoever.
And if you have someone that you really, your hearts are kind of in the same place for just ministry, it's not just a one-way thing where you're offering their swag that is complementary to, or, a good fit with your audience. But the fact that they might want to offer your book in one of their specials or on their website, and you give them a 40% discount or whatever. So there's lots of, collaborating together both ways with a partner like that that's maybe not an author.
I would like to collaborate with Bridget's Boutique and let them supply me with clothes. And then whenever I go speak, I'll say, this outfit was supplied by Bridget's Boutique in Enumclaw, Washington. So go shopping there, and you can shop online. So Athena, I think we should talk to them and get that collaboration going, because
I think so. And Anne, that is cool that you're already working on some collaborations with merchandise. So it'll be fun to just see what, if you are writing a book that encourages people to journal, there's a couple of really cool companies out there that's what they produce is journals, to be able to do the cross promotion with them. There's just lots of opportunity to be very creative and let God put together some partnerships that really can help build the kingdom.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So those are not just Athena and I's thinking up what's the best thing in 2025 for marketing, but these are actual things that we researched, that we, the professional people that are out there doing all of the logistics of this have come up with. So we will have a couple more next time, because there are so many things that are happening in the 2024 market.
And like Ann said, so many ideas and so little time. So, Lord, give us the extra time we need to do what you want us to do. Just because there's lots of ideas doesn't mean we do all of them, but we want to know all the options so that the Lord can guide us in the ways that we should go.
For sure. All right, all. Well, thank you, Shelley and Ann, for joining us. And those watching later, hope that this update helped you and navigating the 2025 marketing for your book.
And we will be back, in 2 weeks or
in January?
In January. Okay, once a month. See?
Once a month.
All right. We'll be back in January with it's industry update. Yes.
It is. All right. See
All
you
right.
then.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye for now.